What up, guys? It's Runway Chronicles movie section. Getting right into it. Good luck. Have fun. Don't die. Gore Verbinski, you have created one of them ones. We're gonna liken this to Everything Everywhere All at Once, just in a way more AI-ish kind of way. Sam Rockwell, I love you. Zazie Beetz, I love you. Michael Pena, I love you. Haley Lou Richardson, I love you. Juno Temple, I love you. Even the random side actors and actresses made this movie quite entertaining, quite funny, quite really actually good. I sincerely recommend this movie to start the year. Out of a lot of movies already, I really had a great time watching it, a fun time not knowing what to expect, and like an even more sincere time understanding what our world is turning into. Good luck, have fun, don't die is essentially based around AI and the attempt to stop a supercharged AI from essentially destroying the world as we know it. Liken it to just people being zombies. If anybody's seen Don't Worry Darling that came out 2 years ago with Harry Styles, Florence Pugh, and a host of other people, Andrew Garfield and all them, it's in that same right where let's escape reality, let's find a way to get lost in everything around us that isn't true. Let's create a utopia made for all of us under one guise, under one premise, a world better than the one we already live in. Essentially forgetting every part of what real life looks like and just living in AI, just living in virtual reality. But no, it's not virtual reality. It's a perfect reality that they've created that is better than the one you live in, and that you must make the leap to no longer live in this reality, but full-time live in the reality that has been made so much better than the one we currently have. Every single character's stories were different. They all ended up tying back together. I liken it to how Zach Kreger did Weapons and Barbarian, where you definitely see you see all of them in one room at the beginning, but we're gonna get everybody's story one by one and see it all kind of like converge at the end and see it all make sense. And so something like that. Everybody's stories were different though. It's a real big conversation for me and my wife right now about our kids and what phones look like and when you want to give them phones. And this movie puts that shit in like your fucking brain where it's like, I don't think there's going to be an age that's good enough to not give your kids technology, to not show them technology. But the worst part is, I feel like, how do you limit technology? How do you put ramifications? How do you put barriers on it? I think even when you put parental controls on technology, there's still ways to get around parental controls. There's still ways to be around things you shouldn't be around. Hello, Roblox, talking to you, fucking horrible ass. Jesus, not safe for anybody. Please be better. Really, the consumption of phone usage, the blank staring as a zombie, if you would, at a phone, numbly scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or Reels or Threads or what have you. That was a real big point. Another one was being able to clone a child you lost to a school shooting was a really fucked up premise to begin. But then I thought to myself, wow, to know you could recreate, you could not have the same, but clone human skin and a body that really would resemble that of your kid you've lost was a really interesting premise. But the crazier part was plugging in their emotions and plugging in their flaws and their quirks and what their hobbies are. Build a child, if you would. Really interesting premise, losing a child to school shootings and not knowing what to expect, but then having people who've been through this 3 or 4 times with the same child. What the fuck are we doing with the same child? Oh my god. Yeah, that shit was crazy to me. I said, yeah, the heartbreak would suck. Yes, I would miss them. I would not want to think about a life without my babies. Losing them to something so tragic as a school shooting. At the same fucking time, to just clone, to just make a new and move on, and I just added a new quirk. Instead of you loving art and music, you're gonna love sports and flying. What the fuck? No, I what an interesting premise. Like you really had to sit there and think about it watching the movie. Like I feel so fucked up because it's not right. But tragedy and the heart always aching isn't good either. So how do you find the middle ground? And I would tell you a step further, as much as that was cool, the cooler part to me was being able to hear their voice again. Have them talk to you as they were talking to you before. Outside of the Build-A-Child you created, being able to hear their voice and hear them respond to you. Almost like Gemini does on fucking our phones and stuff, or Siri, or any of those things. Kind of the same thing, where they're like your kid's voice, and they essentially are going to talk to you and respond to you. And I'm like, that shit might be a lot better. It might make you feel a little better, but still so heartbreaking to think about, right? It really was. I think Ingrid's story was probably the weirdest one, honestly. Haley Lou Richardson's story, I think her story was being allergic to Wi-Fi and allergic to technology, falling in love with somebody who did not want technology, did not want phones, and then got exposed to VR and all of a sudden was gone. Wow. It isn't so far-fetched, and it isn't out of this world. I think people really are already choosing this. I can go back to Gamer, the movie with Gerard Butler forever ago, where they really just would choose to go home after working and just spend their whole night on a game, doing whatever they wanted, abusing people, murdering people, having sex with people, doing everything under the fucking sun. And I'm liking this exact thing to that, where they almost put it in a onus where AI was never going to stop, and it's inevitable. All they wanted to do was put protocols inside to make it safer to use AI, safe to have guardrails to be able to stop you from realizing that this is not your reality. You need to step back and remember you have life outside of this. I like the obstacles. I like the random monsters they had to face, people they had to face. Cat giraffe that spits out glitter. That's all I'm gonna say. Have fun with that one. I like Zazie Beetz. She's wonderful. Michael Pena, he's funny. They did great in their roles. Just Sam Rockwell, he doesn't do a whole lot of lead roles, and it's so fun to see him in a role like this. And I remember Sam Rockwell from when I was a kid with Charlie's Angels, when he was Drew Barrymore's love interest, and he was actually a bad guy. I love him in that movie so much. Like, even though he was a bad guy, he was so cool. I always remember his scream at the end, no! I always remember it for some reason. But I thought Sam Rockwell did really well in his role. And the mind fuck at the end of the movie, after learning about why he was so afraid of technology and learning about his mom and her fear of technology and all these things, all of it comes back around circle where you start to connect the dots, and then you find out the truth and you understand. And he's got his finger on next to a trigger the whole time, just in case he has to reset, because even if they complete the mission, he can't be sure the mission is fully satisfied, so he has to always be ready. And I thought it was a really fun movie. I thought it was a really thought out process, and they really took their time making something original, which is what I truly appreciate. I really do. In a world where AI is going to take over so many conversations, and it's going to give you whatever you want in the snap of a finger. Even right now, getting on social media and seeing people say, oh, I caved and joined the trend, and it's just not who I am. I don't give a fuck about AI. That's cool. And if I see videos on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on anything, I delete them. I X out of them and I snooze those pages. I don't want to see them anymore. It's not that it's the worst thing in the world, guys. It's more, we're wasting so many resources by using something so simple that's trying to make everything available to us at the snap of a finger. And don't get me wrong, I get on Google and I use my microphone and I ask Google a question here and there. Of course I do. But generating pictures and fake images of myself and falsifying things, and I don't really want to do all that. I don't want to make AI something I just consume constantly and I constantly find a way to use and find more ways to have, and that's not what I feel like I want to do with something like AI. I would rather use it when I have to, but not find a way to use it all the time. At my job, I had to take a computer-based learning about AI literally 2 days ago, and it was really just talking about what to expect AI in the workplace. AI is supposed to work for you, but like they said, even in that module, AI can only do so well, depending on who plugs it in. AI can only do as well as you actually raise it to. You put in flaws, you put in half-ass measures, half-ass fucking efforts, it's going to be a half-assed AI, but they're trying to convince us that if you put in effort, you make AI perfect and flawless and blah, 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 then nothing will happen. Sorry, humans created AI. How the fuck can AI be flawless? Just simple put, yes, it's got to be constantly governed and constantly watched, and all those things are true. Still, again, there's no way to govern something that's gonna now take on its own life. I'm seriously saying Skynet, guys. Skynet, Terminator. So serious. The more permissions you give to AI, the more capabilities you teach AI, the more it's not gonna need us to learn itself, to actually learn more about how to use itself. So I mean, this movie was really fun. Hit the nail on the head about where our society's going, what could happen. They even made a joke about, like, kind of a reference to Wall-E, I felt like, where people are going to be mind-numbingly stuck to their phones and do nothing but just walk, barely get off their couches, barely move, and that's just nothing life I want to have for me or my kids or my wife or my friends. I want us to live and I want us to have a great life, and this movie almost kind of steps you back and makes you remember, don't use technology for every single thing about your day. Go outside, touch grass, look at the trees, look at the sun, look at the moon at night. Just don't forget about life and living. Don't get lost in virtual reality and what you see on a phone, because a phone isn't everything. So, I like it a lot. Go see it. I give it an 8.5, probably a 9 out of 10, honestly. Good luck, have fun, don't die. Alright guys, this has been Midwest Brown Boy Chronicles. I'm your Midwest Brown Boy, Jalen Brownford. Thank you so much for watching any of my videos. Come back, hear me talk some more, like and subscribe. I'm here talking about music, movies, TV, anime, all those things, etc. and so on and so forth. And I'll be back just like I always am. Thank you so much for listening again. You guys have a good week. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace and love always.